tend to, you like attracts like, other people I've noticed start to have the same question. So I figured we'd go over a couple of things. The first thing is, with the law of attraction, a lot of times it's suggested that you don't tell people what it is that you want. You know, like, say, for example, you're trying to manifest a car. Say, for example, something crazy like a Maserati. The average person doesn't buy a Maserati. But if you focus on it and you work towards it, anything is possible. I hope that my connection's okay. It looks like I'm kind of like buffering. So the suggestion would be not to go around telling everyone that you're going to be buying a Maserati, because number one, they can kind of talk you out of it. They can put their thoughts out into the universe that it's never going to happen for you. And remember, everybody's thoughts manifest. So the thought that you're having the most is going to manifest the quickest, right? So those of us, and I'm totally guilty of this, having contradicting thoughts, right? It's like, put your right foot in, take your left foot out, and you're back and forth. Well, that's what's going to show up in your life. It's going to be good one day, bad the next, because that's what your thoughts are doing. So when you're dealing with a situation where you know that somebody doesn't have your best interest at heart for whatever the reason is, it's best not to let them know what you're doing. So a lot of people fall into this category where they're dealing with the person that for their own selfish reasons is trying to screw things up for you. And you know, how do you deal with this person? What happens if for some reason you have a fear of them? Like, people honestly, listen, I think almost every culture in every country in the world all believe in the evil eye, which is basically wishing evil or bad on someone, right? And we all have some kind of a remedy. The evil eye, like the blue eye. I have one on my front door. I have one as a keychain. Italians, we use the red pepper. That's supposed to ward off the evil eye. The red string when I was studying Kabbalah. I mean, there's so many religions and countries that believe in the evil eye. So if it's something that you really believe in and that somebody can wish you harm, then that's going to manifest regardless of whether or not it's real, because it's in your own head and you believe it. You know, it's like the same thing. If you keep telling yourself that you're going to fail at something, you're going to fail at it because you're going to convince yourself of that. So if you're dealing with a person who you may be feeling like you're afraid of them a little bit, like they have some kind of power, they have power over you if you allow them to have this power. So how would you deal with a person like that? Well, I would tell them very minimal about my life. The problem with keeping these people in your life is that what they do, and I'm not so sure that gaslighting is the right term, but they bring up issues in you that you have in your subconscious. Like, say, for example, when you were a kid, you were made fun of because you wore glasses, just for an example. And if you've grown out of that and you don't care that you wear glasses anymore, or maybe you had the surgery and you had your eyes fixed, still deep embedded in your subconscious, which forgets nothing, will have that fear of being made fun of for this reason. So if you're dealing with somebody who's constantly poking and prodding at you with these insecurities, they're going to come out. And if they come out, like a lot of times it happens in our dreams, we'll have dreams that these terrible things have happened to us because we're reliving them in the subconscious. Now, I would say, well, just don't worry about it, ignore it. But the problem is that once it's brought up into your conscious, it goes out into the universe. And now we're talking about it and we're discussing it with people and we're giving a whole lot of energy to it. Right now we're blowing something up that hasn't bothered us in years, but now it's out there in the universe, and what's going to happen is another situation will be recreated and we will relive it again. If you look back on your life, you're going to see that you've relived so many of the same situations, just with different people. So for me, my suggestion would be, if you're really afraid of this person, that this person can wish you evil, that this person can screw your life up, I would say try to keep them at arm's length. Try to keep everything, nothing personal. Don't give them any personal information. And try to be very short. Like, I don't want to say short, but try to distance yourself a little bit from them, because you don't want them to have the power of bringing up all these old issues and putting that back out into the universe. See, that's the only thing where we give our power away to other people. That's the one thing that bothers me. I mean, look, you want to make fun of me because I wear glasses? You want to call me fat? You want to call me ugly? Okay, that's fine. Listen, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But if it's a real subconscious thing that's in your brain, it's going to come to the surface, and then we're going to relive it again. So consciously, you might know that this isn't true, but subconsciously it's there, right? We have these fears, we have these thoughts, and they come up in dreams all the time. I mean, all of us have them. Maybe you don't always remember them, but they're always there. So it's very interesting to me, and it's not all of us, you know, like, we all do it. You know, I mean, I can tell you, it's very important what you talk about and what you continue to talk about. Because if you're going over the same horrible story over and over again, you're giving that horrible story more energy. And the more energy it has, the more power it has. It's just like a person. And it was funny because I forgot that I had gave this suggestion to someone, and then he wound up having to give it back to me at one point. He worked with somebody who was just on his last nerve. Like, there was 100 reasons why he couldn't stand this person, and I kept saying to him, stop talking about him, stop giving him energy, and he's going to go away. Don't give him any energy and he'll go away. And eventually he did. And then it was a few months later that I was complaining about somebody, and he told me the same thing. He's like, don't you remember that you told me? Yeah, because it's very easy for us to tell someone else, but when the shoe's on the other foot, it's not always so easy to take that, you know, our own advice. So another thing I wanted to talk about, because this comes up a lot, right? These types of questions come up a lot. And it's not just one person, it's a lot of people. There are just some, like, I think that they're brain differences. That's what I think it is. Like, brain or differences between men and women. Like, when women contact me for readings, they have a certain set of questions. And men, when they contact me, they have a different. And I have to tell you that the ratio of men to women that contact me, I think I've had like maybe 3 or 4 men contact me that I speak to every now and again. 3, 4, maybe 5 men, I think. Whereas women make up the majority. And it's not good or bad. Look, it is what it is. I feel like women are a little bit more open to metaphysical. They're a little bit, just generally speaking. I have a lot of guy friends that are into this kind of stuff too. But just generally speaking, I think that the way that men and women express themselves are different. So when I get questions from women, and it happens all the time, like they just recently meet somebody and then all of a sudden they want to know about moving in together and getting married and having children. And when they ask questions, they're asking if the guy is on the same page. And look, every person is different. We're all unique in our own way. But generally speaking, I think when it comes to relationships, men are a little bit more logical about it than women are. Like, you just met this guy. Like, would it be a good thing if you went out with him 3 times and I told you, yeah, you're going to be living together next week? I wouldn't suggest that, right? Not even looking at the cards, but just as a friend, I would say, you don't know this guy, give it some time. But I think that a lot of times women are on one page, and when their expectations maybe aren't met, they kind of, I don't want to say makes them feel insecure, because I want them to feel more secure, because insecurity will breed insecurity, right? So sometimes, like a guy, he can be very much like laid back and day by day and just doing his thing. And it's not that he doesn't see you in his future, he does. He's just not thinking that right now we have to plan the wedding. And when, I mean, I had one woman, I think I told the story, where I read in the comments and it was like, well, I just need him to call me, text me, and video FaceTime me every day. And this is a lot to ask of someone. Imagine if somebody said that to you. Like, imagine if somebody said to you, I just need you to call me, text me, and video FaceTime me every day. That's a lot. All right, like it's a lot, especially if you're working. If you're working full time, you have 8 hours of the day you're at work, 10 hours of the day you're at work. Where are you going to fit all that in? And now you've become another job for this person. And nobody wants to have added, now I have to do that. And if I don't do that, she's going to think this, and I'm going to have to deal with that, So my advice is always to sort of, the phrase is, if you love something, let it go. That's my motto. Let it go. Let it go. Just try to, your intention is out there. This is what you want. This is what you're striving for. I'm going to focus on what I want. It's going to happen for me. But without the need and the, I don't want to say desperation, although I have felt in some conversations desperation, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but remember what you're putting out there. If you're feeling desperate is going to create more situations where you feel desperate, right? Feeling confident will create more situations where you feel confident. Feeling out of control is going to create more situations where you feel out of control. So you have to kind of harness into exactly what you want to put out there and try to feel it before it happens, because we're dealing with a universe that is a mirror of what's going on inside us. So what they say is, if something is showing up in your life that you don't like, you're the one that's responsible for it, and you have to change it. You have to change it with the thoughts that you're putting out into the universe. And overall, I think that it can be very easy, but it's the minute to minute kind of thing. For example, your intention is, I'm going to get a new job that pays me $20,000 a year more, right? That's your intention. And you say it in the morning, and you say it in the afternoon, you say it at night. But in between, your thoughts are, I'm never going to get this job, I'm never going to get this job, I'm never going to get this job. Now you're contradicting everything that you've already put out there. So be very careful with what's going on minute to minute throughout the day, because you don't want to put any of this opposite energy out into the world, right? Because that's where we're going to get conflicts. If you look at it like, and even if you can just stop yourself in the moment and say, I'm in control of everything that happens in my life, nobody has free will but me, then you can control the situation with how you think. And you don't have to put a chokehold on someone to keep them with you, because they're just going to be with you. Like, that's just going to be it. And it's just going to fall into place. And there's no stress or anxiety, because it is what it is. And it happens nice and organically, and there's no manipulation and all this other shit. Now, there are a lot of people out there that do a whole lot of manipulating and twisting and forcing square pegs to fit into round holes. And it might work for some time, it might work for a long time, but eventually the whole thing is going to come down like a house of cards. It's just inevitable, because you can't force and manipulate and twist and stuff something into where it doesn't belong. And sooner or later, it's going to explode, because the universe doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. It's like holding a gun to somebody's head and being like, you have to be with me night and day. Well, you're going to get them to stay with you night and day, but do you think that's going to be a happy union? Like, are you going to be happy with this person? No. And the first chance that you get to get out the window or out the back door, you're going to take it, because that's no way to live. So you have to watch out these people that try to manipulate, right? But what's worse to me with the manipulation people is if they're stirring up the subconscious crap in your mind. That's what you have to watch, because what happened to you when you were 2, what happened to you when you were 7, what you happened to you when you were 11 does not need to be repeated now as an adult or whatever. Like, we don't need to go through that again. We went through it. It's over. It's done. So you really want to stay on top of those thoughts and think about who it is that's in control. That's the big thing for me. Watch out who's in control and what are your thoughts, and what is the emotion, or what are the emotions that you're putting out there? Are you putting out, I'm peaceful, things are going to work out, everything is working out in my favor, I'm calm, it's no big deal, it's going to work out the way it's supposed to? Or are you putting out, I have to do something desperate, right? I have to do something desperate because I'm freaking out. And listen, we've all been there. So like when I say these things, it's not like I've never been there before. We all have. I mean, I called my friend once. I don't remember what situation it was I was upset about, but she said that I was talking so fast. First of all, she was like, please stop and take a breath because I think you're going to pass out. And then she asked me, she goes, are you speaking English or Italian, because I can't understand you. It's how fast I was talking. I'm a Gemini rising, so you know, I talk fast. But that kind of, you know, nervous energy and desperation, putting that out into the universe, well, what's going to come back to me? What's going to come back to me? At the end of the day, right, people always expose themselves for who they really are. I mean, it happens all the time. Sometimes it takes longer than others, but at the end of the day, people expose themselves for who they really are. So if you have faith in a couple of these things, then you know that things have to work out in your favor and you're on the right path and that nobody can get in your way, then there's no reason to be anxious or nervous or crazy, because things are going to work out the way they're supposed to. So I hope that this helps, because I feel like there's a little bit of a contradiction when it comes to the law of attraction and tarot card reading and spell work. Because if the law of attraction works, what do you need the other things for? What do you need to know about astrology for if the law of attraction works? Well, especially with astrology, you'll know what's a better time. So like, for example, if somebody said to me, you have a great Jupiter transit happening right now, I would put that idea in my head and think this time is better for me than any other time. So I'm going to focus on what I want because I've got Jupiter working for me. So you use it to your advantage. And the same thing with the tarot cards. Anything can change. And first of all, people's emotions and moods change like from minute to minute. Some people worse than others. But for example, I am so guilty of this. I do this all the time. This is my latest kick. I went on this kick where Stop and Shop started making these seltzers and all these different flavors. Pineapple coconut, strawberry blueberry, watermelon. And I'm telling you, I could not be without a bottle of seltzer. I had to have one with me all the time. I was obsessed with them. I was going in there and buying like 50 at a time. And then what happens is I get sick to death of them, and now I don't even want to look at the seltzer. I just want lemon water. So sometimes you just need to take a break from something. I mean, I used to do it with hummus. I wanted hummus all the time. I ate it for like lunch and dinner every day for like years. And then all of a sudden I didn't want to look at it anymore. And then you know what? Yesterday I went out and got some for dinner. So like sometimes we're just different, right? Some days you really want to hang out with your parents, right? And some days they annoy the piss out of you. It happens. It happens to all of us, right? And I always use parents as an example because people can relate to that. People get really offended when you're like, well, sometimes, you know, your husband just doesn't want to hang out with you. He just wants you to go out. But the truth is that we all go through that with everyone. Like I said one time, I'm not a big Chinese food fan. I don't know, it makes me tired. I just feel like it doesn't sit right with me. The carbohydrates make me bloated, whatever. But every now and again, I get a real craving for Chinese food. So like our moods and what we want fluctuate from minute to minute. Like there are some times where, I really want something, and then the next minute I'm like, yeah, I'll live without it, So just think of it that way. Just because somebody is not like up your ass 24/7 doesn't mean that they don't want to be with you, or it doesn't mean that you're not important to them, or that they don't see you in the future. It just means that they're either busy doing something else, or they don't need that constant contact. Like some people have a little bit more needier way to them than others, and generally speaking, and once again it's general, women tend to need more of that constant contact than men do. It's just, I think it's the way that we're wired. It's like, I worked in a grocery store for a long time, so I've seen a lot of this, where a woman would send her husband out for something, and of course it was inevitable that he would get the wrong thing, and then she would come back and return it and get the right thing. And I wanted to say to her, I would say it to a guy because guys react different. I don't think a woman would take well to it, but why didn't you just do it yourself? Right? You know what you need. You know what has to be done. You know what it looks like. Why are you sending somebody else out to do it? It would be like, like your husband sending you out to go buy a part for the lawnmower, and you're like, yeah, I need this, and you have no idea, and of course you're going to bring home the wrong thing. It's just, you may as well just do it yourself. But on the other hand, men also tend to do exactly what they're told. So if you were to send him to the grocery store and say, pick up plastic forks, he's going to come home with plastic forks. And then when he gets home, you're going to say to him, but where are the spoons and the knives? And he's going to say, you said forks. And you're going to say to him, yeah, well, what do you think? We don't need forks, spoons, and knives? Right? But I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen where the woman would come back and be like, this idiot just bought forks. What are we going to use to cut things with? What are we going to use for this? And I'm like, you have to be very specific. And it's just, look, I spent a long time in the grocery store. I've seen it happen. You have to say exactly what it is that you want, because that's just the way that they work. Oh, well, she told me to pick up forks. She didn't say spoons and knives. So, it's like the way that we function, we just function differently. And that's okay. But, when we have to work together, sometimes it causes a lot of lack of communication or a lot of anxiety for one person. And, we don't want to have that anxiety and crap going out into the universe. So pull yourself back from it, because you're in charge and nobody is going to get in your way, and you're going to get exactly what you want when you focus on exactly what it is you want, and you just kind of banish all of the thoughts and contradictory beliefs. Okay. Oh, so I have some items up on Teespring if you're interested. I think I put up a coffee cup, a tote bag, which is so funny, and I think a tank top, and they have my face on them. I don't know why. I just thought that it was so funny. I'm wearing the blue wig, I think. Anyway, if you're interested in them, on my community board, there is the link, because I believe you have to have 10,000 subscribers before I can link it below in the underneath my video. So I don't have enough subscribers for that, so I just had to post it the way it was. All right, if you like what we're doing here at the Magic Junk Drawer, don't forget to like and subscribe, share us with your friends, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. And the astrology tarot card readings will be up tonight. They're all done. They're ready to go. I just have to tag them up and release them.